Welcome into episode 10 of Ramie and Drew live on YouTube, on Twitter, and tonight, Drew, for the first time on Facebook after the Bucks fall to the Blazers in Dame's homecoming game out there in Portland. And despite like some sloppiness, especially in the second half, they had a chance to win this thing, and they blew it, Drew. I don't know what happened there at the end. We were sort of watching the game together and from separate locations here on the stream in the studio before we went on the air, and you were losing your goddamn mind over what happened at the end of this game.
Okay, we talked about this.
You don't have to hold it together. You don't have to hold it together now that we're.
Oh, I'm not going to scream immediately. I will say this. Oh, I just got a text from Ryan Graham, comedian Ryan Graham.
And by the way, you can join the show live.
That fucking ball instead of Dame Lillard. Yes, that's where I lost my mind, everybody. I love Brook Lopez. Ramie loves Brook Lopez. Yeah. Why are you the guy taking a step back three-pointer at the end of a fucking game? I get it's Portland. I get they're not going to the playoffs. I get they're not a good team. But you ain't him. Why are you doing this? You have Dame Lillard for fucking crunch time. And you're doing this? Dude, this game. Okay, I don't want to be too high or too low on the Bucks. I'm never a guy that does the whole thing where it's like the season is over when we lose a game. But this game was the epitome of stupid basketball. Coming out of halftime, again, turning the ball over. Fourth quarter, turning the ball over. Dumb passes, dumb shots. And then the pinnacle of stupidity was Brook Lopez taking that fucking shot. Dame Lillard, I get it. You wanted to take the three. You shook your guy on the wing, and that's fine. But that pass, Dame could have stepped inside. We had enough time. Take the two, tie it up, see if the defense could come away with it. Malik Beasley stepped up on defense. He poked the ball away. He made a great hustle play at the end. Malik Beasley, for the second night in a row that we've had a game, I'm going to say stepped up on defense. Whatever Doc has them doing right now or whatever they did after Griffin left works. It's good enough. But tonight, offensively, stupid turnovers did this. And now you lost to a dog shit team. I love Portland. Portland is my second favorite team in the league. They were before Dame was there.
Yeah, they're your Western Conference team, aren't they?
Yeah, they're my Western Conference team. I love them more because of Dame and CJ McCollum and Nurkic. But, like, I started liking them because I always thought their logo was cool. I like the black and red color scheme. I was a kid when I started liking them. I loved it when they drafted Wes Matthews. I loved Aldridge. I loved the, like fucking Brandon Roy. All those guys were great. I thought Greg Oden was going to be awesome. Dude, this shit tonight pissed me off for the Bucks. This one actually makes me mad.
It looked good in the first half, Drew. I was watching the game with the sound down. I got the two TVs set up in the living room, and my girlfriend got in there first, and she got Love on the Spectrum on the big TV with the sound. So
how many of those Australians on Love on the Spectrum think they should shoot a three-pointer instead of Damian Lillard? All right? There isn't one guy who loves velociraptors more than women on that show that thinks he could hit a three-pointer to tie up a fucking ball game.
But what it looked like to me...
I'm not going to say he's on the spectrum, but god damn it.
No, we're not going there. But in that first half, what it looked like to me, Drew,
for him on the plane.
What in the first half, what it looked like to me was they were getting good shots, and a lot of them just weren't falling. But then in the second half, like you said, it was just sloppy and coming out of timeouts, turning the ball over. Like, the second half was just kind of a shit show for this team. And despite that, they rallied a little bit there in the fourth quarter. And then there in clutch time, and I tweeted it out. I don't know if I've gotten the "you jinxed them" tweet yet, but I tweeted out, as the show was about to go live, like, reminder, we're going live as soon as Dame hits this game, or as soon as right after this Dame time game winner for the Bucks. And he seemed, I don't know if he panicked, Drew, because like you said, he either could have taken the shot or dropped it inside to somebody. There was no need for Brook Lopez to take. Brook Lopez could have passed the ball after he shook his guy. There was no need for Brook Lopez to rush a fall away three there with the game on the line. There was no reason for that whatsoever.
No, and if Brook had a clean look and his feet were set, but it was the step back. And he hit a shot right before that. I'm sure he was feeling it. But this makes me start thinking, were we wrong about that Sacramento game when he threw his hands up in the air like, oh, I wanted to be the guy to take a shot? Because you fucking did it, and now you proved you don't got to do it. All right? That was stupid. Like, this is the first game this year. We've lost game. We've gotten blown out by Cleveland. We got beat down by Boston for an entire 3 quarters and crawled back into it. Those games didn't make me as mad as this one did. And I don't mind Brook Lopez taking a 3 at the end of the game if he's open and like you said he's got his feet set. But you had to put a move on somebody. You had to have the sauce the entire time to do it.
And Drew, it's been a trend this season, not just. And look, man, I don't want to make this the shit on Brook Lopez show because I love Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I love him too.
I love that dude, and they don't win that championship without him, and they're not going to win another championship without him. And his defense has still been amazing. But not only in the fourth quarter and in clutch time tonight, but throughout the season, Brook Lopez is just trying to do too much for a big man, a 3-point shooting big man on the same floor as Giannis, Dame, and Chris. You know what I mean? You do not need to be shooting off the dribble, dude. He took a shot in the second quarter. He tried to do an under the hoop reverse layup. Like, dude, you are not that guy. That is not your game. And I gotta believe that if you're being doubled and forced into an under the hoop reverse layup, somebody's open. And Brook Lopez is smart enough and has vision enough to see and know that somebody's open. It's happening too much this year, man. I had the numbers before, and I don't have them now, and they've changed since then. But his attempts off the dribble in isolation are up this year when you added Dame to the team. You know what I mean? And Chris Middleton is back and healthy. There is no reason for that.
No, that you have guys that can shoot. And, this is the thing, like when we go to the whole trade deadline thing, and if we talk about trades – this is like part of the reason why every single year I complain and say I want Derrick Rose, because you have an extra option out there to close out games. Pat Connaughton, in my opinion, was out there for way too goddamn long today, contributing nothing. He didn't even shoot the ball tonight. He was 0 for 0.
Was he really? I didn't even notice that. I gotta be honest.
Dude, honestly, like they have the thing going around right now, and this is also going to be mean, but like Tony Snell needed to get signed tonight or something. If I wanted a 0 for 0 for 0 for 0 with 0 fucking blocks and 0 steals, and I wanted somebody to take 0 free throws, and I wanted a guy to play fucking 24 minutes, then go sign Tony Snell. What the fuck is Pat doing out here? And this is his former team also. What are you guys doing?
It's getting hard to watch Pat Connaughton. It's getting hard to watch Pat Connaughton for this Bucks team, man. And there's another guy who I'm a fan of, but it's just not, dude. He was a -10 tonight, like you said, 0 for 0 in 14 minutes. He's not playing good defense. That he's literally like a non-factor, if not a negative, to this team every time he steps out there, Drew. And you're right in that. Like, I wouldn't say it made me angry, but this was the first game. Like, we've been preaching patience and positivity with this team all season long, and it's only game 2 of Doc Rivers coaching this basketball team. You know what I mean? We do have to have a little patience with that big of a change and a shakeup at this point in the season. But so I wouldn't say I was growing angry watching this game for the first time, but maybe a little annoyed, a little frustrated about some of the stuff that we've been talking about all season, like the Brook Lopez stuff we're talking about, like the Pat Connaughton stuff that we're talking about. Some of this stuff can be addressed in coaching, and some of it just needs to be addressed via the roster and via some moves and some shakeups between now and the trade deadline. And by the way, for those who didn't watch or listen to it last night, Drew and I did a show yesterday, as relevant today as it was yesterday, on some trade deadline candidates. If you want to go back and take a listen or a watch to that on YouTube, Spotify, and now Apple Podcasts. I figured that out, ladies and gentlemen.
So who didn't play tonight? We no Andre
Who didn't play tonight?
No Andre Jackson. He didn't play tonight. I think this is the kind of game right now with Doc, and I don't want to armchair tell Doc how to coach or anything like that, but I've seen enough of Pat Connaughton. I've tried to stay positive on the guys that helped us win. Oh yeah, Steve. Yeah, I get it. If he would have hit that 3, it would have been epic, but he didn't hit it. So what are we talking about? Yes, I would love every player to hit every shot they take like it's goddamn 2K. You know how many nights 2K on All-Star setting I have had a legendary shooting night according to Greg because I shot 78% from the fucking floor? That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Of course.
It would have been great, Steve. Thanks for the comment on YouTube.
My blood pressure wouldn't be high. My nose wouldn't be red. I wouldn't have tore my hair out and have to wear a beanie. Like there's just I was sitting backstage in the studio and I yelled no when Brooke took that shot. And I mean, holy shit. Like I'm beside myself on this. But it's like, okay, the Portland Trailblazers are a very young team right now. They got a lot of inexperienced guys out there. You got Malcolm Brogdon, who basically, I think the amount of games he's missed per injury, he might qualify as a rookie again. He might be playing negative games at this point, only if he has to play Milwaukee. I don't know if he played another game this entire season, and I watched the Blazers. I couldn't have told you that he was wearing number 11. I don't know. But, like, this is ridiculous that we got Pat Connaughton out there. And, again, flybys. That guy leaves his feet constantly. That dude's got happy feet. He's like a fucking Penguin movie out there. It is insane. I am. Thank you, Pat Connaughton, for what you did in 2021 when you were playoff Pat. I want to see Andre Jackson against these young dudes now. I don't need Pat Connaughton getting pump fake. I think that he could go to the gym that I play basketball at, and I think everybody in that gym could pump fake the fuck out of him, including the 10-year-olds that try to play on the big boy court. I think they could pump fake at this point, and he's going to leave his fucking feet on a Fisher-Price rim. It is insane. And this game, like I said, it made me mad. This is the first game all year that actually made me mad watching that, because Portland is a team you should beat the shit out of. You should have beat the shit out of San Antonio. You should have beat the shit out of Detroit. You should beat the shit out of Charlotte when you play them. There are plenty of – if you caught Miami right now, you should beat the shit out of them because they're stupid as hell too. But it's like right now we're going to throw Pat Connaughton out there and Brook Lopez. I know he wants to hit his 21 points or something like that. He wanted to be the fourth player in 20 points for the Bucks tonight. Great. Good for you. But you jacked up a shot when you just have better guys on your team. There are better guys on this team to shoot that shot.
Yeah, and I need to go back and I need to go back and look. I need to go back and look at the replay of that shot. But I gotta believe there were better options on the court, both when the ball left Dame's hands and when the ball left Brooks' hands. I don't know what Doc Rivers drew up there, but I can't imagine that.
Oh,
if it's not going to be Dame, I think everybody in the arena knew that Dame was option one in that situation, especially in Portland. But if it's not going to be Dame, that it was going to be Brook Lopez on a step back 3. I don't think that was. I think that was what anybody had in mind, and I gotta believe that there were better options out there.
I don't think there's a coach in the entire NBA, and even the coaches that aren't currently working right now, that would draw up a step back for a stretch 5. I highly doubt. I doubt that Chauncey Billups was like, "Hey, look, Anthony, if you don't hit this goddamn shot, maybe DeAndre Ayton's taking a step back 3. So just be ready, everybody, if Ayton wants to fire that." Holy, like, God damn it. That was. if Malik Beasley took that step back three, fine. You got
fine.
like the second 3-point percentage in the NBA. Chris Middleton has hit those step back threes, falling out of bounds, getting hammered with his back turned. He's done so many trick shots in his career in close games. You know, Middleton, fine, take it. Feed it back to Dame. Let Dame pump fake drive, do something, a floater to tie the game or something. I don't care. But a step back three from your center at that point, I mean, I would rather Giannis. No, I don't want to go that far. I don't want Giannis to step into one.
I'd rather Giannis with his feet set and stepping into one than Brook Lopez on a shimmy shake step back three. No, thank you. I'd rather take Giannis stepping into one. Yeah.
That was frustrating to watch.
Or just go, it's Dame time. It's in Portland. You know what I mean? Just go up and maybe you get the foul. There were better options there. I'm just talking about what I saw. Like I said, I got to go back and look at the replay and see what else was going on elsewhere on the court, maybe out of the view of the camera that shot that we had at the time. But there had to have been better options out there at that time than anything else. And you're right about Andre Jackson Jr. Like I said, we talked about it yesterday for an entire episode about this bench being bolstered and added to. But until then, yeah, man, let's see what Andre Jackson has in some high leverage minutes, because it just doesn't look like Pat Connaughton is going to be a guy who can play the type of role that he's played in the past for this Bucks team. I just don't see those days coming in time for the playoffs.
Definitely not. I think, okay, so like bench scoring has been an issue this year. We're getting outscored by other teams' benches. Andre Jackson's not going to add you any scoring, but his goddamn defense has to count for something here, because I'd like to think with how quick Andre Jackson is on his feet, he seems like he moves very smoothly up and down the court, and he stays at least home. He's not jumping at guys. Like, that's gotta be something. Like he's bigger than a lot of the guards on that Portland team. He's bigger than a lot of the guys that are getting around Pat, that Pat's getting just flat-footed on. Like, maybe real estate is where Pat needs to focus right now.
Is he involved in that fancy new? Is he involved in that fancy new couture building that's going up on the lakefront?
Who fucking knows? He's got something. He's probably evicting poor people or something. Honestly, I would think that he was building homeless
shelters. You can't say that. You can't just say that.
If he was being productive, I would think that he's helping the homeless. I would think he's feeding meal program going on. But right now, I was like, you're spitting on homeless moms. Like, I don't know. No, you can't. I shouldn't say it.
You can't just throw stuff out there like that, man.
I'm mad at this game.
I understand.
From my home.
You still have to control yourself. You can't just throw stuff out there like that. That's crazy.
I can't convict Pat Connaughton for saying these things. He's not the head of my condo association, okay?
Fair.
I pay my dues.
I do have to ask you before this is up. And by the way, folks can jump in on the show. The StreamYard link is it's up everywhere. It's on Twitter, it's on YouTube, we're on Facebook tonight, so you can jump in on the show if you want to comment. Drew, like I said, we've been preaching positivity and patience in the 9 episodes that we've done, and in our conversations, before we had a podcast, we were wondering what the hell is wrong with Bucks fans panicking. But at what point, and I know you watched because you sent it to me, the Malika Andrews half-hour sit-down with Dame Lillard, not the one that they showed on ESPN, but like the uncut half-hour sit-down that Dame Lillard did with Malika Andrews, and I thought it was a good interview, and sort of touched on everything, and you sort of saw what the dude, he didn't go into detail, but he did admit that like part of the discomfort in Milwaukee has been, what he's going through off the court of being away from his kids and being away from his family and going through a divorce, et cetera, et cetera. And I did get the feeling that this was and I can relate to this. I've moved away and back to Milwaukee a couple of times now, but he seemed like a guy who is he's kind of homesick, dude. And he even said, like, in a different interview, I think it was in a press conference, that he sees one day where he puts on a Portland Trail Blazers uniform one day again. I'm not saying like he's disgruntled or he's not happy or he doesn't want to be here, but like, if you're not exactly where you want to be or you're just missing home, that does affect like your mood and your day-to-day performance in whatever you do. And I wonder, like, when he, and not to sound cold about it or anything, because like I said, I can relate, but when he kind of gets over it and we just get full Dame Lillard, you know what I mean?
I would honestly think it's going to be closer to the playoffs. I think when things tighten up and when business is business for him becomes the passion again. Because like the regular season's a grind. We're in the middle of the season where it's just the thing that these guys they got to go through, and this is the dog days of it. And I think when things ratchet up, I think when competition gets tighter, when we start playing Boston again, Miami, Philly again, you start getting through the season where you're going to play the teams you're going to see in the playoffs. I do think that I think the dog's going to come back out. And I'm okay with it. I'm not worried about Dame Lillard. I'm not worried about guys missing shots.
At all? You're not worried about Dame at all?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, I watched Portland for a long time. Dame's been very honest about what's going on in his personal life and stuff, like like not sharing too much, but it was no secret. Like, he wasn't keeping it from everybody that he's got a personal thing going on with the divorce and stuff, and he's got kids, he's got family still back in Portland. Like, he's very honest about like what he says, and like that's nice to at least know that he's not making excuses for himself and stuff, like. But he's going to say it bothers him. And that's fine. That's totally okay. I think when the competition level rises, he's going to rise to the occasion, because I think he is that guy.
I was really hoping and thinking it could be tonight. You know what I mean? And especially the way that this game was playing out near the end. I was like, and that's why I tweeted what I tweeted, that we're going live after this Dame game time winner for the Bucks, because it played out perfectly. And he wasn't having a great night, but I think even just if he could have gotten that shot off at the end and at least tied this thing up and took it to overtime, that it would have been a major sort of monkey off his back and a lot of pressure off him of like, oh, okay, I had the homecoming, I got that out of the way, had my big Dame time moment in that, and then he could just kind of go and get loose for the rest of the season. But it didn't play out, and he had a rough night all around, man. What did he shoot tonight? He was 9 of 23 and 3 of 13 from 3. He was just off tonight. We've seen flashes of it, but we haven't consistently seen that killer and that guy who's one of the greatest scorers in the history of this game.
And yeah, I mean, tonight was a typical night for Dame in a Bucks uniform. And that sucks, because Portland is not a good team.
No, they came in with 14 wins?
Yeah, they got a lot of growing pains. I mean, I know that they were going to probably play with a little bit of, to use a word that Joel Embiid has never heard in his life, inspired play. They really wanted to win this one. They you want to beat the guy who left you. And Dame, I think, wanted to put on a show for, his hometown crowd, if you want to call it that. Dame, again, did what he's been doing for most of the year for us. He's been just teetering on that 23 to 26 points per game. Didn't hit 4 3-pointers. I know that because Underdog lets you know when you lose a bet immediately. I seriously thought that Giannis was going to defer a ton to Dame and just let Dame just put on a fucking air raid on them. And I don't know if I'm just
hyper focused because I'm waiting for him to break loose, but I did notice a couple times tonight when Giannis got the ball in his hands and started making a move towards the hoop, that Dame just sort of stopped and wasn't. He's not moving a lot with when the ball's not in his hands, and specifically when the ball is in Giannis's hands. And I know that there's a lot of figuring out to do when you have two superstars that can impact the game the way that those two can, and exactly how they're going to do it and how you share that load of impacting the game. But I don't want either one just checking out when one gets the ball in their hands.
Yeah. I think right now, at this point in the season, we're far enough in that Giannis is the guy on this team.
Oh, yeah. And Dame said that when he came in.
There's not a 1A and 1B on this team right now. It is Giannis is the horse on this team. Yep. He is going to drag everybody else on that roster across the fucking finish line. And if the playoffs started today, I think Giannis wills them to wins. I said it during the Denver game in our group chat that I thought that Giannis was pulling these guys across the finish line. I was like, willpower win for Giannis on this one. I don't know that anybody else is going to step up and do it because we need it to be Dame. Like everyone says, offense has to run through Dame. It's, he's got to be calling the shots. He's got to be taking the shots. And, when that ball goes to the big man, yeah, he's got to execute. But there's I was talking to a couple people at the open mic tonight.
Oh, you went?
What?
You went?
Yeah, I went to the open mic. I was watching the game on my phone, and then I went.
I thought about it, and then I was like, no.
But we were all talking before the game and stuff, and everyone's like, yeah, the ball's got to go through Dame. Giannis doesn't need to ever bring the ball up. Dude, tonight against Portland, bullshit. I'm gonna say that's bullshit because Giannis was the guy who was forcing everything and making the shots go down.
Yeah, I don't think Giannis should never bring the ball up. If you want to say Dame should bring the ball up more, but Giannis should definitely be bringing the ball up sometimes.
Absolutely. Besides, like more than Chris.
Yeah.
You never bring the ball up unless it's a transition and everyone else gets double teamed.
Yeah.
But no, Giannis is a playmaker too. The guy knows how to make passes. The guy knows how to look. I think Giannis is probably the second best passer on that team.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, I'm trying to. This is one of those things where you're doing it in your head and you're like, is he? Yeah, but yeah, he's up. He's definitely second or third, I would say.
Yeah, because you're gonna have Dame and Middleton as being maybe either of them is better than Giannis, but Middleton's passing is really only above average to Giannis.
Yeah.
That's it. So probably Dame is still the best passer on the team, but Giannis finds guys and he's been doing it with a lot of these guys longer. He knows where his guys are going to be still, but yeah, I'm waiting for Dame to break out because he is my favorite player on the team. He's my favorite player in the league. He has been for a long time, but it's fuck, man. When is this? When are you going to just start scoring 30 points? When are you going to take over a game? When is it just Dame time a couple nights in a row?
Yeah.
When is it Dame time against Detroit? When is it Dame time against Orlando? Or I'm going to keep bringing up Charlotte because we still got 3 games left against them. When is it Dame time against Charlotte? When is it Dame time against we play, I think, Sacramento again? Is that going to happen again? Or is it going to be another Portland game where we play a team that's kind of crap and we just, I don't know, just go through the motions? Brook Lopez, step back 3, brick it, whatever.
I did want to bring up, and maybe we wrap the show up on this and on a positive note. In all the gloom and doom, and they can't play defense, and they're only second in the Eastern Conference, and they fired their head coach. One thing that's kind of flown under the radar and gotten lost in the mix is that if he's not back, Chris Middleton is pretty damn close to being back to healthy Chris Middleton form. This was from NBA University today. You can follow them at NBA_University. He's shooting 57.7% on 3.4 mid-range field goal attempts per game. That's the most efficient You like that word, don't you, Drew? Most efficient mid-range shooter in the NBA among players who have attempted at least 2 per game. He is the best, back to being the best mid-range shooter in the NBA right now, as his minutes go up and up as he comes back from that offseason injury. And Chris Middleton, look, man, Giannis has been, in my eyes, the MVP frontrunner in the league to this point. You need Dame to get back to Dame form because you gave up too much to get him for him for him not to get there, and you win a championship. But you, as almost as much as you need that, you need Chris Middleton to get back to form. And like I said, if he's not there, he looks like he's pretty damn close.
Yeah, that exactly, stats like that. I didn't know that stat, but like, I mean, I've said you can pull up the receipts from the group chat and everything. When Chris Middleton gets cooking, I'm pumped on it. I love watching Chris Middleton go to work, especially inside the arc. He doesn't have to be a high volume 3-point shooter anymore. And the mid-range game is absolutely something that's kind of lost in the NBA now. And he really adds another dimension to our offense, especially when he does that little shimmy shake. And, you know, Marcus Johnson calls it the step into my office. And yeah, he can beat guys from that 17 to 12 foot range with the turnaround jump shots. He gets a good quick shot off. And whenever he releases that ball, you think it's going in if it's a straight up jump shot. Like, if he doesn't have to put a fancy move on anybody, all he has to do is a couple dribbles, maybe, just cross the guy over and just get that crossover is just to get the ball fed into the hand he wants to hold the ball with.
By the way, speaking of prime Chris Middleton, and probably the last time that we've seen that for a full season, and Marcus said this on the call on Bally Sports. Did you get shades of the 20? I know it's the Blazers and it's game 46 or 47 or whatever it is, but shades of game 6 of the NBA Finals on 2 plays in the fourth quarter tonight. One, the alley-oop that Giannis went up and smacked out of the air. And then you
again. He got
on 8 and again.
Ayton have a flashback.
I forgot it was 8. And then you had the Dame steal Giannis alley-oop a la Drew to Giannis in that game to ice it and seal that game. Both of those plays gave me flashbacks, and like I don't want to get carried away because it's February 1st. Hey, we made it to February, everybody. But But that was pretty cool. I got a little bit of the goosebumpies when I saw those 2 plays.
There were enough things down the stretch that I was like pretty happy about.
Yeah, it's just the way it ended.
It just ended on what like as Charles Barkley says, just stupid basketball. It was just a very dumb way to end that game.
And you don't expect stupid basketball in the closing seconds when you have Dame time. You know what I mean? Right?
When you're the best clutch team in the league and then you go and do something, I'm going to call it monumentally stupid.
Yeah, it was not smart.
They could build a shrine to how stupid that was at the end of that game.
That's pretty. They shouldn't do that because we don't want to remember it.
No.
That wouldn't be a great addition to the Deer District.
But speaking of, since how I'm
like next to the big Bucks block letters, you have a statue of Brook Lopez taking a step back 3 in Portland. And
we're gonna make the exact same thing that they made the Dirk Nowitzki a stat where he's fading away on the 1 foot and it just says like loyalty away. And it's gonna make the exact same one for Brook Lopez and it's gonna say Dame time under it. It's his turn to get his body and Brook's head on it, like Springfield.
But you have to draw the 3-point line like 4 feet in front of him just to show how bad a shot it was, just to show how dumb a shot it was. Yeah. The statue alone won't do it justice. You have to draw the 3-point line like 4.5 feet on the ground in front of where Brook Lopez was taking a step back 1-footed 3.
Have you ever gone mini golfing? You just decided I'm just launching this one. I don't even care. Fire one up and mill. That's what that felt like watching someone do. Like I was like, dude, come on. Like the clown is laughing at you right now. Speaking of clowns, okay, since I'm just positivity right now.
Yeah.
Fuck Joel Embiid. I can't. I told you earlier today. I am angry. Like, I went from last night being like, ha ha, he kind of got hurt. Now he won't get the awards races. Dude, I did a full tilt turn on going from being like, he's playing like the player that they said was the MVP last year. He's even better this year. And I was like, all right, maybe I'm going to stop shitting on Joel Embiid. And then Candace Parker in her bright pink fucking suit on NBA Today had to say Joel Embiid just wants a championship so badly. Well, you know what, Candace? I want $1 billion really badly, but I'm not doing shit to work for it. Okay? Joel Embiid, I have had enough of the excuses for Joel Embiid since I am on a pissed off mood right now. And now it's like, I can't stand it because Embiid, guess what? You got an MVP last year. You didn't earn an MVP last year. Okay. Giannis had a historic season, a historic scoring season, shot 60% from the floor or whatever it was. Jokic had a better year than he did the previous 2 years when he was a back-to-back MVP, and you gave it to Embiid because what would it look like if Joel Embiid never won an MVP? Well, he wasn't the fucking MVP last year. He's not the MVP this year, and he won't win one. And Daryl Morey's going to have some kind of stupid fucking parade and a petition, and they'll storm a Capitol or something like that. Oh, he was hurt. Because here's what I think about Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid wants to get a ring. He doesn't want to win a ring. There's differences here. And this is why I hate this shit. Because he's like, oh, yeah, I would love to have a ring. I would love to be an MVP. But you know what? I don't give a fuck if my team wins or loses games because I'm going to go nuke the San Antonio Spurs, the G League team of the South. You're going to go just bomb that team with Victor Wembanyama on a goddamn minutes restriction, and then you're going to sit out against Jokic on a Saturday because you're ducking smoke, Embiid. You're ducking it. Every single time you got to play a good team. You ducked Boston once. You're going to duck Milwaukee twice by the end of the goddamn year. You're not going to play against Giannis. Giannis will get posterized and score 22 points in a game, and he's fine with it because he's an adult man who doesn't have a fragile ego. But Embiid, you're going to sit here and you are just going to be like, well, I got to have my 38 points in a game against fucking Charlotte. Good for you. You're not an MVP. You weren't the MVP last year, and you're never going to have a goddamn ring. You can clip this part because I fucking am tired of this Joel Embiid shit. All right? I am tired of Joel Embiid. And everyone making excuses for him drives me up the goddamn wall because it's like,
I don't, Drew, I thought he was, you can call it ducking. And I don't even take issue.
You want to win a championship, be healthy like Kawhi Leonard was. Go be healthy until April. Because
I was just going to say, I don't take issue. I don't take issue with the ducking label that you put on it because that's what it is when you choose to have your load management days. When you have a heavyweight fight in front of you, like a Jokic or like a Giannis, so it does look like ducking. I mean, he came back and was injured again, and now is injured again, and we don't exactly know when he's going to come back. So I don't know if this time around was necessarily ducking, but I think he's just injury prone. I think guys that size and that body type are just injury prone. I don't think that he. And I don't know his work ethic, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you're as good as he is unless you're trying to win a championship. I did enjoy your rant there. I wouldn't come down as hard on Embiid as you just did, but I don't know that you can rely on the guy, man. I just think that he's injury prone and he probably needs load management.
He probably does. And you know what? And that's fine because then you can sit out against San Antonio and then no one will play sitting out against Denver.
Right.
But you go and play against bad teams. And then when a good team comes around, now you sit. And that's where the meme comes in where it's Peepo sus. That's sus to me. That's where I don't like this.
I do agree that last season, it did feel like they kind of. I
think he was hurt.
I'm saying with the MVP, it was like, oh, it's his turn. And you also heard the stuff of like, if you gave Giannis or Jokic another one, that they're 3-time MVPs and when you look at the list of 3-time MVPs or Giannis and Jokic in the same league as those two guys. And it's like, that's not what this is about. That's not what the fuck you're supposed to be voting on MVP. It's like, who's the most valuable player of this season?
Embiid getting the MVP last year was like Leonardo DiCaprio getting the Oscar for The Revenant. That was not Leonardo DiCaprio's best movie.
I haven't seen it. Should I watch it?
Hell in it. He froze himself to death in a fur coat in the goddamn river for an entire winter or something to make that movie.
Should I watch it? Is it good?
The bear scene where he gets mauled is pretty sweet, but the rest of it is just like, makes you cold. And like, we already live in Wisconsin.
That's true. Yeah, we're in February.
People that live in like Florida to be like, oh, is that what the cold is like? Yuck. Like, no, but it's like, that's what that movie is. Like, it's like, no, he had better roles before that he probably should have won an Oscar for.
Yeah.
But they kind of gave him like a lifetime achievement Oscar for The Revenant when Tom Hardy is the better actor in that movie.
Did he play the bear?
Himself in that movie.
Did Tom Hardy play the bear?
No, that's the guy from the Iron Claw.
Okay.
The Iron Claw is the wrestling movie. The guy from the TV show The Bear is in that.
Thank you. Yes. It's always good when you have to explain a joke. As any good comedian knows, it's always good when you have to explain your joke.
I did 5 minutes after my 5 minutes tonight at the Laughing Tap so I could explain why my 5 minutes was good. I was like, I don't get it.
I'm so sorry I missed that.
No,
anybody else you want to shit on before we wrap things up tonight, Drew?
Yeah,
honestly, let it all out.
Reagan Nimoy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make fun of our friends. Just go make fun of one of my best friends. No, like I listened to so many things today about the Embiid thing, and the more I listen to them be like, he wants to win. Yeah, fucking great. Has he? No, because like when I start looking at it, I started getting furious on behalf of Giannis. So like my anger level, I was already up there way before the game went final tonight. But like my level of being pissed started off with them being like, but he wants to. I'm like, yeah, I think every player in the NBA is like, I would love to win a ring. And what it actually reminded me of was what you said about Andrew Wiggins, where he's just naturally talented, but like he doesn't have that zest for basketball. And I think that's what Embiid is too. I think he would love to have a championship.
I think he's more of a competitor than that. But I mean, like I said, I don't know him.
Is there another player? Okay, so if we go with like the MVP, you know, the last three MVPs, we got Joel Embiid, and then we got Giannis and Jokic. Jokic doesn't really seem to care after the game's over, but I think he does have a massive competitive drive and an edge to him.
Yeah.
Giannis obviously is sheer heart and willpower out there, and almost to a detriment sometimes if he does make dumb plays. But I think Giannis is the guy who his love for playing basketball is infectious to the rest of the team. I think Joel Embiid is not the dominant force in that locker room. I don't think he's the positive guy in that locker room because you let fucking James Harden dictate how well you played in the playoffs last year. And now it's not on anybody else. And now it's like, okay, well, he just wants to go drop a 70 ball on a shit tier team. And then he wants to be the MVP. And then, oh yeah, if this manifests into a championship, that's great. But it's like, well, what about Tobias Harris? What about Tyrese?
And if it doesn't manifest into a championship, and we already heard chatter of this before this season started in the aftermath of all the James Harden drama that went on in the offseason and resulted in his trade. If it doesn't result in a championship, he's eventually going to ask out of there, Drew. And especially if they can't add another superstar beside him in addition to Tyrese Maxey, he's going to ask out of Philadelphia and want to go, I don't know, to New York or LA or somewhere where he thinks that they'll be able to put a team around him. By the way, you see Jimmy Butler might be on the trade block?
No, that's wild because like Jimmy Butler actually seems like he's like peak Miami.
Yeah, I know.
Like he seems like the best mentor. Like as much as I like to pick on the Miami Heat and their stupid court that says like they're the toughest, meanest, haven't showered in a month team in the NBA or whatever it says. Oh, we're the dirtiest, nastiest, grimiest. We got toe jammiest team. We ain't our underwear in 2 months after in the NBA. Pat Riley is part of the mafia in the NBA.
I knew you had one more person or one more organization you had to shit on before we got out of here. And Ramie and Drew. Hey, we won't have a show tomorrow. Our schedules, Drew and I, they just don't drive, and we're not going to be able to get together to put on a show tomorrow. One of the reasons that our schedules don't drive, I have a comedy show at Drew. Have you done the Dandy comedy show at the Dandy Vintage and Antique Store?
Yeah,
it's a cool space. It's a cool space.
I'm headlining it. Are you headlining it tomorrow?
No, I'm not. I'm featuring.
Oh, well, I'm headlining it in April.
Oh, I'm headlining it in April. Ooh, look at me.
The only good people on the planet after tonight are the people who run Dandy.
Well, I'll be there tomorrow. You can get tickets at MilwaukeeComedy.com.
Oh, I got one more to shit on. Mark Ananasio, you're giving to the PGA Tour and you're not fucking signing free agents or Corbin Burns?
Wait, is it PGA or Live?
I don't know.
Well, you know what? We need to have a talk about you getting your facts straight before you shit on people, all right? This isn't going to be some Aaron Rodgers free-for-all on this show where you're putting people on lists and saying they did things they didn't do. You need to get your shit straight before you start going after people.
You can't confirm or deny that I said that Mark Ananasio may or may not have been on Epstein's Island.
No, you can't. You can't say that. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
You can't confirm or deny that I did or didn't say it.
No, we have it on video. This is going to be out there.
It's big if true.
All right. That's Drew Flaggy. That's Drew Flaggy. Follow him on Twitter at Drew F is on fire. Follow him on Instagram. I'm Ramie Makloff. Ramie is tweeting. Ramie is gramming. Catch me tomorrow at the Dandy Comedy Show. Tickets info at MilwaukeeComedy.com. Like I said, no show tomorrow. We are trying to put together a preview of the Super Bowl interview with our old friend Eric Wheelo of the Up and Adams Show, Milwaukee stand-up comedian who's out there in LA doing big things. So we're going to try and line that up for Friday. Is the next time we'll be back with episode 11 of Ramie and Drew. This has been episode 10 live, and we will talk to you next time. See you, Drew. Get your shit together.
And I'm angry.
All right. Bye.